Hello, I'm Hugh, and I'm doing a run through of Warsim 6.2.7. So what have we added today? Mainly faces, to be honest. Mainly a lot of faces. So I've reworked the way orc faces look, which I'll show you now. Before they used to follow the same structural pattern as the old ugly human faces, but I have updated those now. So if we let's go to random face orc generators. So you notice they don't have lines everywhere, and these ones wearing earrings. They look a lot more tribal. And there are, as you can see there, 3.152 billion. So, no, sorry, trillion. 3,152,684,021,760 orc faces. So that's quite a lot. I've also reworked, not reworked, but I've added a lot more human faces. So you'll see that humans don't all look the same, sort of like facial structure wise either. You notice these two have wide headbands and different shaped jaws, and this one's got a different shaped chin and mouth and things like that. So humans vary a lot more now, and some of them could even look quite creature-like, but it's all in a fun nature. So in that regard, I've added an extra 1.2 billion, no, sorry, trillion again, trillion human faces. So previously, I can't remember how many there were, but if you look at that number there, I've added 1,125,145,409,408 new faces. So I think we had a couple of million prior to my update, or maybe like a billion or two. But I've massively overhauled that, so there's so many more now. I fixed a bug where when it was loading creatures with no faces, the game would lag. So, for example, if you were generating a kingdom of were-cats, they won't have faces, and to tell you they don't have faces and to find the question mark shape would take ages. So I've modified that so it's not even a thing. I've added a lot more demigod faces. I think they were like 5,200, and now we've got 1 million of them. So they vary a little bit more, but not that much different. I fixed a bug which would be in the last version of the game where if you had any gnomes in your save games, like a gnome king or a gnome champion or anything, if they saved their face in your save file would be unable to be loaded. So I fixed that. I've added a couple of new NPC names. I've added the ability for players to mod their own face sets, because what I noticed was I added a thing to the game which allows players to add their own races. So you can write the races, the names people in this race would have. You can choose the units they'd have the population level, the civilization level, the strength of the population generally speaking, their name obviously, and a small description about them. But you couldn't add faces because I think the face system came after the race system was already well implemented. So what I've added now is the ability for players to also because you can modify faces now, or in the last version you can add your own faces, but only for pre-existing races. So if you were to add a new race, you couldn't even tell the computer to use another race file. You couldn't even, for example, create a new race that looks a bit like men and tell the computer to just give them men faces. So what I've added now is a file which you'll notice in your data folder, which is called RaceFaces, and it's got the name of all the races in the game, and next to them a number which signifies which face type to grab. So to compare the two, if you were to make a new race, you could add, I don't know, I think let's say number 19 at the end of so you could add, I don't know, if I'm adding a new race of people called boglings, I could write boglings full stop to signify the end of the word bogling, and then the only number that's not being used yet, I don't know, 20 for example. And then if I go into faces, if I go to the bottom of it or anywhere in it really and write 20 full stop and then draw the first part of the face, you can develop your own faces by adding parts to each one. If anyone is confused with that, I'm very happy to do a quick tutorial on how to make your own races with their own faces, sort of thing. So that aside, yeah, so we've got more modability now, which is cool. There is more. Yeah, there we go. New lizard faces. Before there was only 1,200 lizards, and now we've got 19,000 more. So let's have a look. Yeah, 20,000 in total. So just a little bit more variation on the formula. I've added 9 new types of races. So, for example, pit, rock, mini, faceless, sacred, fake, silent, invincible, and awoken. So, pit orcs, rock elves, mini dwarves, faceless goblins, sacred men, fake vampires, silent ogres, invincible zombies, awoken elves, whatever. I've modified some orb salad description. I've added a new race called Corpselords, which are kind of like combat liches, I guess. I've added a few more names to the ghoul names thing. I think it's tripled how many there were in there because there was only like 6, so like 20 have been added maybe. Because there wasn't enough variation, and all the undead were getting the same names. I've added the history of the East to the lore tower in the Tower of Histories in the explore screen of the East, and a new artifact called the Talisman of Brothers, which basically prevents pest groups spawning in your lands, which are those bandit groups that pop up every now and again, and occupy number 17 on the Who to Attack list, and they can be a pain in the ass, and they always take down your villages. So yeah, decent little update. We've got a lot more faces. Polishing those systems, more modability, a few new encounters in the exploration, some additions, new race, and a new artifact. So that's all for today. Actually, I can show you the artifact in the artifact market, because why not? Before I go, so it's in the southeast. We go to artifact market, and I believe it is in the artifacts of the north. And there's a spacing issue there, which I'll fix. But yeah, buy the Talisman of Brothers or ask about it. So there we go. Some spacing issue there as well. Buy the Talisman of Brothers, and then you go to your artifact hall. There it is, Talisman of Brothers. So yeah, that's the update for today. I will be. Oh yeah, it won't be save compatible. So new saves only. If you have any trouble, message me and I'll see if I can sort something out. But as always, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.